Babes. One Piece 1064. Did I miss 1063? Yes. But that's alright because 1064 is... It's just kind of a continuation off of that. I mean, shout outs to Oda, honestly. I thought he was going to stop once they got the Egghead with the banger chapters, but he's like, no, I can't stop. I said 2 to 3 years. I said that we're ending this shit. And I didn't believe him, and I still don't. But if he continues on this, like, pacing, I kind of do believe him. It's kind of wild, everything that we're getting with these chapters, because they're like half and half. They're finally, it's not just Straw Hat focused, and I love the Straw Hats, and I think Peak, and I just finished Enies Lobby in the anime, but I think Peak was Enies Lobby when it's very focused on the Straw Hats. But now with how big of a world that he's built, it's very important to kind of bring all that in. And now we get like half chapters of like what's going on in the new world, what's going on. And there's always something with the revolutionaries almost every chapter now, and there's always something with the Navy almost every chapter now. And Blackbeard is doing everything because they're like, hey, let's give that one guy some the warp fruit so that he can literally be everywhere and anywhere at once. What is interesting, and I almost guarantee I'm wrong about this, but I'm going to say it anyway, the first time that we've ever seen somebody in the cover page who is also in the chapter itself. Now, I called this a while ago, but it was Aokiji. We get this confirmation by seeing Aokiji with Augur, I think it's Ogre, with his warp ability. And it kind of makes me worried for Law, and I'll explain kind of why in a second. It's a pretty easy explanation, but the warp fruit is very, very broken. And they've got Pudding. Now, I don't know what they plan to do because Big Mom talked about how Pudding's not ready to read these poneglyphs. I don't know under what circumstance they'd be able to make her do that, but there's a chance, I guess. Maybe Blackbeard still knows something that we do not, but the cover page was awesome. We finally get to see Kuzan, not even Aokiji because that's his marine name, but Kuzan out there looking devious as hell, but I'm not buying it for a second. The man's a part of the sword, and he's a damn good marine who still owes Garp to this day. So if you don't think that he's playing the game, you're crazy. And I think Blackbeard kind of knows that too, but he's kind of cool with it in the meantime. Speaking of Blackbeard, they go at it immediately. I'm glad the chapter started off with this awesome interaction between Law and Blackbeard just fighting straight up. We were sleeping on Law's crew about that much. Do they still kind of stink? Yeah, but it's more of like a crew that like takes everything in. He has Hakugan in charge of the ship, the submarine, and he's got Shachi and Penguin, who we've known for a little bit. We don't really know what they've been about, but they're very good in the water. And Law, as you can see, as a captain, is like, I want to be the only anchor on this team. So I don't even think there's any other Devil Fruit users on his squad. They're just people who can kind of help him use his broken Devil Fruit ability and kind of control the battlefield for how he wants it to be controlled. But they kind of start going at it. We see the same apples that we saw in Jaya with the sick man. He blows those up, but I think it was Penguin, Shachi. I don't know. I don't really care to know. But one of them blows those up, and it was the same type of explosion. The Quake fruit still a problem. It seems like Blackbeard's beginning to get a handle on it, and he's just kind of being a menace to society. But like I said before as well, I think Law has a Devil Fruit that lines up pretty well with fighting Blackbeard, but it's just so broken. But everybody plays their part with Law. We have Beppo, who's kind of like the ears of the operation, and he's making sure that everybody's where they need to be. He's making sure that nobody takes out Law, because if they take out Law, it's over. There's not a chance in hell that this crew can do it without Law, but Law is team carry. Like, he is the Heart Pirates. He's everything and anything. But Gene Bart even getting in on there, who we got back on Saboti, who takes a hit in order to protect Law, and then Law lands a clean one on Blackbeard, who almost has a 4 billion berry bounty, almost $1. He gets saved by Ogre, who has such a broken fruit, especially for a sniper, like such a broken fruit. But he warps and he's like, no, I can handle Law. It's not a big deal. And we know that he takes a lot of damage. I just watched the fight against Ace. He takes more damage than the average human being on every single attack because darkness gravitates everything towards it. Law's talking shit. He's like, bro, you just bring a bunch of anchors around like a dumbass. And out of nowhere, Law's crew's like, we're sinking your ship. Fuck you guys. Like, we're coming after you. I'm like, damn, okay. A little bit of a turntables, but I think this is kind of like... a cry. Like, they're going to look kind of strong because they kind of have to a little bit, but they're not winning this battle. They're very much not winning this battle. And it's tough to say if Kuzan's with them. I would just say no, because I feel like with the warp ability, they're able to do so much and go so many places that he's already probably on his next mission doing his next thing. But if he's on that boat, that even if he beats Blackbeard, Kuzan's going to come out and be like, are you guys done? Blackbeard, you need help? You need help? Because I think he wants to stay with Blackbeard, because I think he understands that Blackbeard's going to get him where he needs to be, kind of at the resolution of everything that's happening. But I'm very excited for Kuzan. Super, super excited. We see Pudding, who is actually in that ship with her 3 eyes. Probably going to be reading some poneglyphs here pretty soon. But Law and Blackbeard were going at it. I like how the Quake looks with the darkness like bursting out of it. It looks kind of fucking crazy. If Blackbeard gets this fruit, it's a wrap. It's really bad. It's not good. I don't even think he would use it because I think it would be just so broken. But they did nerf it at a high level. But if it was what it was before and he combines that with the other 2 fruits he had, everybody is just fucking done. Like, it would be a wrap very, very quickly. But he uses Black Vortex, and if we know what Black Vortex does, it brings him in. And I don't know how Law's going to avoid that. I still think his fruit has that ability to kind of avoid that and really mess with Blackbeard. And I could totally see Law winning this fight. It's just not going to happen. It can't happen. It can't happen because the way the story's going, it just cannot happen. I think he lines up really well, and I think he can avoid gravity because he can kind of control everything in the room. But I mean, at the end of the day, gravity's gravity. So it's kind of tough to see me seeing Law win this. But we'll see. Something very interesting off this fight was Sakazuki's like, I'm being forced to wait again as the Fleet Admiral. Bruh should have never become Fleet Admiral. Kuzan had it right. He's like, nah, man, we need to get out there and do Marine shit. Like, I need to go undercover and do this shit. Because he can't leave. I'm not entirely sure why he can't leave. I don't know if it's kind of like, okay, one of the Yonko is fighting. So if we go out and try to either take some warlords out, take out the guild, or take out another Yonko, then that opens us up to maybe a team up of forces between them. But they just have to wait for all this information to kind of pile up and see what's going on. But I mean, last time he was like, we're going to fire on all cylinders. And now he's like, I have to wait. I'm like, bruh, get out there and start punching people. But whatever. Zoom back to Egghead. Egghead, like I said, Jinbei, Chopper, and Luffy are all chilling with Bonnie. We find out more about Kuma. We see old Luffy and old Chopper, which I thought was really cool and funny. They look hilarious. But Jinbei looks young. I could be crazy, but that's not old Jinbei, right? That Jinbei looks hella too young. Hella too young to be old Jinbei. But they're basically talking about the Tyrannical King. Very much theorized beforehand. Everyone kind of knew that about Kuma. I think he's misunderstood. I don't think we know exactly what gave him the title of the Tyrannical King. I don't know exactly what he did, but we know he was against the government at the time. So there's something strange going on here. Something very strange. And I think Bonnie's going to be the one to figure that out first, because it seems like she's been kind of trying to figure that out for so long. But she thinks Vegapunk's a murderer. She does not like Vegapunk, and she thinks that it's his fault. Fast forward, I mean, we kind of just see all the other Straw Hats, and they're all chilling. What I find fucking hilarious is when they're all chilling and chatting and like deciding on shit, and like just jumping around. Zoro and Brook are like, we'll stay on the ship. No, we're good. We're good. Brook's probably like, bruh, I grew up like fucking a long time ago, and all this shit I'm not interested in. And Zoro's like, technology, not interested in. Let me figure out these swords that I got, and I can do that on the ship. You guys go have your fun. You guys go do your thing. But like I said before, they are starting to separate a little bit, and we can kind of start to see who's going to be with who once CP0 arrives on the scene, which can be very interesting. They have the gear and stuff, which I kind of like. I mean, I think it's going to make for a very cool battlefield for the fight for this arc. But besides that, future stuff is kind of like for me, but I'll take it. I mean, we're getting Vegapunk. I think they're doing a good job with it. It's cool, and it gives you just another skin, because Oda loves dressing his characters in so many different skins, whether it be tropical, futuristic, medieval, whatever it may be. He's Goda for a reason, you know. But then the big cliffhanger that we're left with, of course, before I look up a chapter, I'm like, oh, there's a break next week. And if they tell me there's a break next week, then I know that they're ending us on something kind of wild, like Lelouch, for example, or something else. That's what I'm saying. It went from fighting with Law and Blackbeard, Yonko and Law is just kind of a normal thing now that we're accepting. With people in the cover page and chapter that we've been seeing for like a while now, and now it's coming to fruition right now, because we're probably going to be getting new one of that, depending on if Aokiji is going to make himself known here, or if he's even with Blackbeard and Law at the moment. But then all the way back to the Straw Hats, and then through the Straw Hats, we're now at the Revolutionaries, when he says, Vegapunk's like, hey, I think I'll be dead soon. That's part of being a genius. And CP0 is coming to assassinate him, so it makes sense. But then he says dragon. And we knew it, and we had to have known it, but Vegapunk is too smart for his own good. I think he understands or figured out kind of what the government's about. And he's like, no, this is too dangerous. Like, we can't be having this. And I think he figured it out way earlier than the government was expecting. He's a genius. And so he's been working with the revolutionaries for a while. What does that mean? I think that means technological advancements for the revolutionaries among other various benefits of stuff. I mean, even just Vegapunk talking with Dragon makes me think that the power of the revolutionaries in general has risen quite a bit. But there's just so much to look into here. There's so much to see, like, okay, how long has he been working for him? What has he been doing for him? What information does Dragon now know about them? Is Vegapunk part of the reason why this siege on the Reverie took place? There's just too much. There's almost too much to discuss here. But it's awesome. It gives us plenty to discuss over the next 2-week break. And CP0 should be coming soon, and we'll probably get the end of Blackbeard here pretty soon. I don't see this arc being very long. I don't even know how they could make it long, because Vegapunk's not really an enemy. Not really. And CP0 is an enemy, and they're going to be there soon, so I don't really know how they're going to go about this too much, because there's not a lot of characters here besides Bonnie and Kuma, who it seems like we have enough figured out already. So I think this is going to be a quick stop. I think this is going to be a quick stop. We're going to learn something quick, and Law's going to take an L, which is tough, but where we go from there, I don't know. But an awesome chapter, ranging so far and wide. Oda is the world-building king and champion of the world. And I'm looking forward to the future chapters. But 1064 was a banger. I can't believe we're already kind of almost at 1100, which is insane. But 2 to 3 years isn't happening, Oda, but I'll see you in about 5 or 6. It'll be good. But hope you guys have a great weekend, and I'll catch you later. Peace.